Hi guys, welcome back to You've Got This, the channel dedicated to teaching you all the life skills that you might need as you live in this big wide world. Today is part 3 in our series, our pantry series. I've done a basic spice pantry and a basic condiment video, just trying to help you outfit your kitchen if you've never really cooked very much, or if you're newly out on your own, living in an apartment or renting a house or whatever. So anyway, I'm just showing you kind of the basic things that I think are important to have on hand. I kind of look at it like if you had to hole up in your house because there's a horrible winter storm for a few days, what would be really good to have on hand that was going to keep you going until you can get out and get more food? But I basically always have these in my cupboards because I use all of them a lot. So I always keep some legumes in my cupboard. Those are your beans and your lentils and things like that. Beans are incredibly good for you. They're very filling. These are dried beans. They're not hard to cook. These happen to be kidney beans, but any kind of bean that you like. I particularly like pinto beans and black beans, and those are what I use more than red beans, but I already cooked all my black beans yesterday, so I'm using my red beans today. But anyway, I'll be showing you some really good recipes in the future on how to cook beans and make some really awesome recipes. These are lentils. I don't know if you grew up eating lentils or if you have ever eaten lentils, or they're really good. They're used in Indian food. I use them in soup a ton. They're so easy. They cook really quickly. You don't even have to pre-soak them or anything. You just throw them in and boil them. So I'll be showing you some recipes with lentils. These are split green peas. I love pea soup. I don't know if you do. I mean, it's kind of an old-fashioned kind of soup, and maybe you haven't had it, but it is good, and you can make it with as many vegetables or as few as you like. I happen to just make mine basically with water and split green peas, simple as you can get. Cooks fast. Pair it with a garlic bread and salad and you're good to go. So those are, I would always keep some sort of beans on hand, some sort of legume. Peanut butter. Peanut butter is obviously great on bread with honey or jelly or whatever, or good for dipping your apples in. But also it's awesome in different kinds of like sauces, peanut sauce, spicy peanut sauce, dipping sauce for your spring rolls, things like that. I have salt in here. I have it in my basic spice pantry video, but I also have it here because even if you don't buy all those spices, I'm saying to buy salt unless you don't want to eat salt, and you don't have to have it, but I keep it. Let's see here. Pasta. This happens to be angel hair pasta. There's so many kinds of pasta, dried pasta, and it's good that it keeps for a long time in your cupboard. This happens, I have another box. This is orzo. It's the little tiny, I don't know, kind of oval shaped pasta. I like this. You can make a really nice side dish with parsley and olive oil and salt and pepper to go next to your main course or whatever, but also you can make salads, cold salads, and all the pastas lend themselves to being for a variety of meals like dinner or lunch. I put chia seed in the basic pantry. I don't know if you eat chia seed or if you have. They're really great. The neat thing about them is when they come in contact with water, they expand and they get kind of this slippery surface that's really yummy. It sounds weird, but it's delicious. And so you might have had these in smoothies, or some people sprinkle them on oatmeal or over yogurt, or we make a really awesome pudding with our chia seed. Chia seed pudding is so easy to make. Basically, you stir in a few ingredients, almost nothing, stick it in the fridge, and then like half an hour later you've got some really good pudding because it's got a thickener on the exterior of the seed. Really healthy. They're expensive, so just be aware. You can buy a smaller bag, or you can buy them in bulk maybe if you have a store that has bulk food. Another thing that's kind of expensive but very worth having in addition to rice, which I'll be talking about, is quinoa. And you might, quinoa's become pretty popular these days. It wasn't something that we ate when I was a kid, but I love it. The texture's so good. They're actually a seed that grows at the top of a plant, and they collect all these seeds, but when they cook, they have such an amazing texture. And I make salad. Like, I love quinoa salad. You can make whatever kind of salad you want, but I'll be showing you some specific recipes. But you can also use it in place of rice or other grains that you might put a sauce on. So quinoa is awesome. I'm hoping that you're going to do a little bit of baking. I'm not a big baker, and I don't really bake a lot of sweet stuff because, I don't know, I'm a salty person. I don't eat a lot of sweet things. But, I have some very easy recipes I'm hoping to teach you that are, as simple as can be, and they involve a little bit of baking. If you're baking, you're going to need flour. This just happens to be all-purpose white flour. Whatever kind of flour you want, you can get whole wheat flour. There are so many kinds of flour out there. There's spelt flour, there's rye flour, but a really good basic is just a whole wheat flour unless you're gluten intolerant. And with that, you can make biscuits, which I make pretty often. They're so easy to make. Oh my gosh, you won't even want to buy refrigerator biscuits again. You'll just want to make your own because they're super easy. They're really good. I make, pancakes, muffins. Obviously, you can make bread. There's so many things, pizza dough. So have some flour, and it's also used for putting on the outsides of different kinds of ingredients and to brown in a skillet. So having a little bit of flour is good for that. If you're baking, you're probably going to need some baking powder. Baking powder is actually baking soda and cream of tartar mixed together, but it's an agent that causes ingredients or mixes to rise. So when you're making a biscuit or a cookie or whatever, baking powder is going to be called for in the recipe. And it's not expensive. Another thing that you might be asked for in a recipe is baking soda. That's again used for things like a quick bread or maybe a cookie. Baking soda is good to have, and I like it because I use it for a lot of things, not just baking. You can whiten your teeth with hydrogen peroxide and baking soda mixed a little bit with your toothpaste, using that on a regular basis. And people use it in place of like cleansing powder like Ajax or Comet or Bon Ami. You can use it like to scrub your tub and your sink. I don't, but a lot of people do. Cornstarch. Cornstarch is a thickener. And so if you're making a sauce or a gravy or even a soup that you want to thicken up, and actually I should have told you, so you're going to want cornstarch for that. I should have told you flour is also a thickener. So a wheat flour can be a thickener in, like I make a gumbo and you have to make a roux for your gumbo, and that's an oil and flour that you've stirred in your skillet for a long time till it gets super rich brown, not burned, but a really rich golden or kind of a coppery brown. And then what it does is it thickens the gumbo. So that's another reason you want flour. It's a thickener like cornstarch is, and you can use it for gravies and stuff. You can use both of these for gravies. Sugar. I have granulated sugar here, obviously for baking, for salad dressings, for sauces. You know what you need sugar for. There are so many kinds of sugar. There are more healthful sugars and there are kind of junkier, more processed. This is highly processed. It's not particularly good for you, but I still use it. I just don't use a ton of it. But you can buy like date sugar and things like that if you feel like you want something that is more healthful. Have also brown sugar, because brown sugar is different. They've left in some of the byproduct of when they process. Well, it's not a byproduct. It's part of the actual sugar that they leave in, and it creates this really soft, moist kind of, I don't want to say, it's sort of like mapley flavor, I guess, but you use it like in oatmeal cookies. And if you're making, you can even make like a pancake syrup with it if you don't have syrup on hand. Brown sugar's handy. I use it in sauces too, like my spicy peanut sauce that I use for my spring rolls, things like that. Oats. These are quick oats. You can buy quick oats and use them for oatmeal cookies or bread or granola. You can make your own granola really cheaply because granola is not cheap when you buy it pre-made in the store. You can make granola bars. I mean, there are a million and one things, but if you were stuck in the house and you needed to have something for breakfast every single day, this would be it. You can also just buy rolled oats. Rolled oats aren't as highly processed as quick oats. Quick oats cook more quickly. Rolled oats have a little bit more texture, take just a little bit more cooking, and they're probably a little better for you, but they do involve just a little bit more time, not a lot. If you're baking bread, or pizza dough or pretzels or anything like that, any kind of a bread product, you're going to need yeast. This is an active yeast. You have to store it in the refrigerator. It's a live product. It's expensive, so if you don't feel like buying a whole thing, because this will make quite a few loaves of bread, you can buy individual packets in the baking section of your store. Vinegar, I have a plain old white vinegar here. It's pretty multi-purpose. You can use it in cooking and in cleaning. You know, there's so many kinds of vinegars. I mean, I actually have several types. I have apple cider vinegar. It has a different flavor. I have rice wine vinegar, which is a very mild vinegar. I use it in Asian sauces. And I have red wine vinegar that I like to use like in my quinoa salad or in a salad dressing. You know, there are a million vinegars, but if you're going with a basic vinegar, I would go with either like a white vinegar or an apple cider vinegar, and it'll do the job, even if it's, you know, not exactly the most perfect. So good to have for cleaning, dumping in your washing machine when you have to rewash your laundry because you left it in so long. It's so mildewy, it stinks to high heaven, and you can't possibly wear those clothes because if you start to sweat, everyone's gonna smell how stinky you are. Then you can use vinegar, wash the load again, and it'll completely disappear. So anyways, but that's what I have in my cupboard, among a few other things. But if I had to have a basic set of things, it would be this. I would like to know if there's something you have in yours that you think is basic that everybody should have, or if there's something I forgot. I think another basic would be a big bag of potatoes, but we could do that with like all the vegetables I think you should have. Anyway, I want to hear from you in the comment section if you think that there's anything I've left out. I'll put a PDF down in the description box below that has these things listed, and you can take it or leave it if there's something on here that you're not particularly enamored with, like chia seeds, but most of these things are things I think you should have. Anyway, I hope it was helpful. If you think so, give me a thumbs up, and I hope to see you back here again with You've Got This.